Hey everybody, Jeff Waldorf here. It's been a while, but we're gonna do some. We're doing a stream today. We're gonna talk about some stories that are going around on this Friday afternoon. So stick with me. I'm gonna get through a good couple of stories. We got fun with Omarosa. She's back. We got a Koch survey that you guys are gonna love. We've got House Republicans trying to protect Trump against Mueller, of course. We have more stuff from the Michigan primary that happened. And then, of course, we'll talk about chain migration. So we're going to do that today. So we'll get through some stories to send you guys off for the weekend. And the show will be back as of normal. Back on Monday, we'll have everything set back up. As we have not been able to do that for a while. And I apologize for the interruption. Not exactly my fault. Extenuating circumstances, all that jazz. But hey, we'll be back to the normal show on Monday, so that'll be great. Okay, anyway, let's get into some stuff. Y'all are here for some politics and some commentary, so I will deliver. Let's start out with the first story that I want to talk about. Well, maybe I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So it looks like Omarosa is back in the news. Oh boy, it's just what I've always wanted, to talk about Omarosa Manigault again. But hey, she's got a new book now, and so everybody is covering her. And so there's some salacious claims inside of this new book. Now, one of them is the fact that she says that she has tapes of Donald Trump. Oh my God, here's another person that's got tapes. First it was Michael Cohen that's got tapes, and now it's Omarosa with tapes. Now what's on these tapes? Well, allegedly they would prove that Donald Trump is racist. Wait, haven't we already proven that? Weird. But hey, let's go to the article here from USA Today. In the book obtained by USA Today, and by the way, the book is called Unhinged. Again, I could say some things about Omarosa and that title, but I'm gonna hold off on that. Now, according to USA Today, Omarosa is now convinced that her former mentor is racist. Oh my God, no. Now, she says that she has not heard the tapes herself, but claims sources have told her that audio exists and that Trump had been using racial slurs, you know, against saying the N-word towards African Americans, allegedly calling George Conway, that's Kellyanne Conway's husband, who has been critical of him and who's also half Filipino, calling him racial slurs based on that. Now, Unhinged, in Unhinged, which goes on sale Tuesday, Omarosa writes, according to the reports, it has finally sunk in the person I thought I had known for so long, was actually a racist. Using the N-word was not just the way he talks, but more disturbing. It was how he thought of me and African Americans as a whole. Are you just now surprised? Do you just now get it? Did you just now notice that President Trump is racist? Yes, he's an old school racist. Believes all those different stereotypes that people look, and I have to say, unfortunately, there's a lot of people his age that believe in those racial stereotypes. And look, yeah, there's a lot of young people who are getting suckered in by the alt-right as well that are racist. The point is, racism tends to permeate that generation, right? Which is really sad to see. That's not to say that everybody in that generation is racist, but you know, you guys know what I mean. Not trying to do broad brushing here, but anyway, let's continue. She said 3 sources in 3 separate conversations that described the contents of this tape. They all told me that President Trump hadn't just dropped a single N-word bomb. He said it multiple times throughout the show's taping during off-camera outtakes, particularly during the first season of The Apprentice. Not a surprise. And she further says, I would look like the biggest imbecile alive for supporting a man who used that word. No, you already look like an imbecile. But okay, basically not on this. Look, here's the thing. What Omarosa is, and I'm going to get into a sort of weird quasi-defense of the White House, which is strange, and it feels really strange to do, but Omarosa is an opportunist. She supported Trump because it was good for her career. She got a job in the White House. So that wouldn't surprise me at all that she knew all this stuff already. And was like, yeah, whatever. Career advancement. I don't care that he's racist. He likes me, right? I'm one of the good ones, apparently. And so I'm just going to use this to get my own opportunities. Look, it's not at all shocking that Trump's a racist. We all know this already. But here's Omarosa, and I think she actually already knew that and took advantage of it to try to milk it for all it's worth, you know, getting a spot in the White House and then forward. Basically, no one is surprised, and now here's Omarosa acting surprised. But now here's where I get into the weird defense of the White House. Now, Omarosa in her book claims that, no, the reason that I was fired from the White House is because John Kelly knew that I was trying to verify the tapes of Trump being racist and saying the N-word. That's... Actually, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's at all what happened. No. She was fired probably because she didn't do anything. A reporter literally followed her around all day as if she was supposed to be on the job, and they watched her essentially do nothing other than plan her wedding. That's what happened. She didn't do anything. Nobody knew why she was even there. Now look, John Kelly is not a good person. John Kelly has some really, he's a right-winger, he's got really far-right views on immigration, and you could argue his positions are racist, right? But one thing about John Kelly is that he's trying to actually run a White House that gets things done, that actually does policy, right? And the policies are important, but he's trying to run a tight ship. Most likely, he found out Omarosa is basically doing nothing but walking around, planning her wedding, not actually working, and getting paid a lot of money to do so. And he was like, no, not happening here. What does she even do? It's like that scene from from Office Space. What is it that you actually do here? And she can't answer. I'll burn this place down. I'm going to burn this place down. Give me my stapler. I know. I love that movie. But look, it didn't even have to do with anything about any tapes. And look, are there probably tapes? Of course there's probably tapes, right? Look, earlier this week, the Daily Beast reported that Omarosa apparently has smartphone tapes of Donald Trump that she has played for people, which would, of course, make her maybe the second, maybe the third, probably the fifth person that probably has tapes of him doing something. Like, if you think the P tape is real, that's a possibility. I don't know. But then there's tapes from Michael Cohen. And there's tapes from, reportedly Omarosa. Reportedly tapes of him on The Apprentice. From somebody who worked on The Apprentice. On and on and on. So, look, the thing about this story is that nobody here is the good guy. Everybody here sucks. Omarosa is a terrible person, an opportunist, only wants to be in the limelight. And then you have Donald Trump, who is kind of the same way, really, which is why they got along so well, but is also a racist. So both of these things can totally be true. So I love the irony here of people, and it's funny. There's tweets pointing this out. It's not Obama that's got tapes on Trump. It's not Comey that's got tapes on Trump. It's not nobody who he accuses of having tapes or secretly wiretapping him or whatever actually has done that. It just happens to be people who were close to his orbit. His former personal lawyer, and of course, somebody that he invited into the White House. If that does not tell you the types of people that he surrounds himself with, I don't know what will. But I surround myself with the best people. Right. The best people. Tremendous. Ugh. Okay. So, let's go to, oh, you're going to love this. Okay. Let's go to the survey. The survey says, so following a recent Koch-funded study that found that Medicare for All would save about $2 trillion in healthcare costs over the next 10 years, there was a different survey of the American people that found something very, very interesting. Now, according to The Intercept, with another great report, in July, the Marketing and Communications Group, In Pursuit Of, launched by the Koch brothers back in 2017, decided to conduct a survey of Americans on a range of different issues. Now, some of these issues include taxation, the government picking winners and losers. Basically, it's framed in a very libertarian, conservative way, right? So they ask a lot of vague questions and things like that on the role of government, etc. Now, within that, and within that framing, they found some unexpected results. Now, the poll was written up by Real Clear Politics, by the way. Now, they spun the results as favorable to libertarian principles. For instance, it found that 66% of Americans would find, those are the good results. So some of the other results, of course, is like, oh, people favor lower taxation, etc., and all these different things, right? Now, the things that are unexpected is when it comes to progressive priorities. For instance, the poll found that 66% of Americans would find government-paid college tuition as very effective or somewhat effective solution to the issue of social barriers. Now, more than half of those lined up on the very effective side. 66% of Americans polled in this libertarian Koch brothers poll with very leading questions, right? And very vague policy proposals framed around libertarian ideas, conservative ideas, still found that, yeah, we would like to have free college, government paid college tuition. I mean, it would solve the problem of, for one, you have people that can't afford their student loans. So, another problem here, right? Low wages, right? Stagnant wages. That's what we're facing right now. In fact, wage growth is at 2.7% in the latest jobs report. Inflation was 2.8%. Inflation wipes out any job growth. So, that's the problem. What did the people think of the solution? Well, they had a $15 minimum wage, a living wage. It's something that Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez and progressives have been calling for, right? And it turns out that 35% said it would be an effective solution, and 30% say it would be a somewhat effective solution. Huh. So that's 65% of Americans saying that $15 minimum wage would be an effective solution to poverty, would be a solution to social barriers for people, and actually would be something that they would be in favor of. Now, nearly 7 in 10 respondents also said that increasing government assistance for childcare, right, universal pre-K, would be a very or somewhat effective policy response to social barriers. That's 70%. These are incredibly popular policies. These are in favor. These are things that progressives have been pushing, and you have a majority of the American people in favor of that. Over 2/3. Now, there's more. Now, the top concern of those polled is the growing cost of healthcare. That is the top concern. What are your concerns? What are you the most concerned with? High taxes, government overreach, regulation, things like that. Crime, immigration. No, they picked with 92% saying, no, we believe that the growing cost of healthcare is the biggest problem that we have right now. Now, here's the thing, right? The Koch brothers are in favor of destroying healthcare that we have now. ACA, for example, is health insurance reform, right? They've been cheering on Trump's efforts to dismantle that program, which has helped people. It hasn't gone far enough. You guys know my position on that. Now, his result, or the result of Trump attacking the ACA and dismantling it, has actually made health insurance far more expensive. And it was already bad enough. Now it's even worse. So now the question is, there's a problem with healthcare, okay? Healthcare, the growing costs. What kind of system would fix that? Well, they asked. Well, look, for one, of course, the conservatives always say, well, we want patient-centered healthcare. Well, yeah, all healthcare should be patient-centered. But what is that? What does that even mean? It's incredibly vague. And right now, what we have is corporate-centered healthcare. Healthcare that is centered on making corporate profits. So what they do to make that happen, of course, is they order unnecessary tests, and they make sure that people get charged high, like high premiums, high deductibles, and things like that, in order to be able to get these, medications, high prescription copays, and to have to pay a lot for these procedures. Corporate centered healthcare. That's what we have right now. Nobody likes that, right? So a lot of people, of course, are like, yeah, of course we should have patient-centered healthcare. But really, as I said before, that's an incredibly vague term that could mean almost anything. Now, for Republicans and libertarians, the Koch brothers, well, they think, well, patient-centered healthcare is basically we get the government completely out of it and let corporations do whatever they want and charge whatever they want. Well, nobody wants that. There's very few people that want that other than, of course, health insurance corporations and CEOs. Now, another option on that poll, however, was single payer with a government-run healthcare system. And in this poll, a combined 55% said that kind of system, a single-payer, government-run healthcare system, would be a very or somewhat effective policy response. That is over half of people polled. Even with all this misleading stuff, even with all this conservative framing, here you have people responding, we would like something that is government-sponsored, government-run healthcare. That's the socialism that they're so scared of. They're like, yes, we want that. We think that's a better system. Damn. And look, not only does it save money by cutting out for-profit insurance companies, but it also covers more, it's guaranteed, and frees up businesses from having to offer health insurance. So that actually helps small business. It makes sense. And a lot of people are like, yeah, of course it makes sense. Look, same for free college. Also makes sense. Look, when you're not weighed down by a gigantic mountain of student loan debt, turns out you can stimulate the economy by spending money. And people even create businesses. They start businesses. That's why it makes sense. And that's why 66% of Americans polled agree with it. Now, unfortunately, you might not have heard of these results. Now, as Nick, Sergey, and Zed Jelani write in the article, the poll was written up by Real Clear Politics, which of course spun these results favorable to the Koch network. So you hear the vague questions, and of course they say, oh, no, we're in favor of libertarian political arguments and conservative libertarian, or I'm sorry, conservative arguments. No, actually on policy, it's fairly clear. When polled, a majority of Americans were found to be quite favorable towards a set of policies that the Koch network opposes. They say that where the Koch brothers see government tyranny, most Americans see common sense solutions to basic problems. Now, for example, on free college, right? AFP Wisconsin, that's Americans for Prosperity, which is a Koch-funded think tank. They called free college a terrible idea. while the state director of AFP Colorado called it, quote, pie in the sky. 66% of Americans want free college, according to their own poll. There's more. Minimum wage, right? $15 minimum wage. Now, in 1980, David Koch ran alongside Ed Clark as a libertarian. Their platform included a promise to abolish all minimum wage laws. No minimum wage whatsoever. And not only that, but Americans for Prosperity and its state affiliates have campaigned against increases to city, state, and federal minimum wage laws. Now, nonetheless, you have a majority of Americans saying, yes, $15 minimum wage, let's do it already. And on single payer, of course, we know complete non-starter, right? And that's why they keep trying to do these studies to try to say, oh, no, so expensive, how are we going to pay for it? Except facts, numbers don't lie. Even with the most conservative estimate of savings, and I don't mean politically, but when you look at the numbers, when you break down the possibility of savings, when you break down, like, for example, administrative costs versus Medicare and private insurance companies, you find out that Medicare, just by the numbers, and all of this is recorded, all of this is easily accessible for public data. You find that Medicare has an incredibly low administrative overhead. It saves money because guess what? That money does not have to go to executives. It doesn't go to profit margins. It doesn't go to advertising. No, that money goes to your health care. Numbers don't lie. So even the Koch brothers ended up finding, oh, turns out save $2 trillion. Now, they didn't write it that way. Even mainstream outlets who picked it up was like, oh, it's going to be so expensive, $32 trillion, without talking about that we actually spend more than that right now. Insanity. Even with that framing, the majority of Americans still find these policies to be common sense. It's because they are. That just shows you these are mainstream ideas. They're smart, effective policy solutions to a lot of the problems America is facing, right? Now, the only problem, the reason that they come out against these ideas is not because it's not smart, not because it's going to cost more money. No, it hurts the donors. That's why you hear nothing but them screaming about socialism. It's Venezuela. You're going to be eating rats. Rationing of care. It's going to be terrible. No, look, they can't argue against these policies. They can't come up with a coherent argument because, look, there is no coherent argument. It works. And the American people have caught on. They know it works. We've got to do these policies. Medicare for all, free college, a living wage. That is the future, and the future is now. Okay. Moving on. So there's a newly leaked audio recording featuring House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes. Now, Devin Nunes, of course, is a big Donald Trump defender. And in this recording, he is found to, been talking to donors at this secret fundraiser about why they need to protect the House and Senate, why they need to protect Congress, right? Now, in the tape obtained by a progressive group who attended the fundraiser, you could hear that Nunes arguing with the Republicans, arguing that Republicans need to keep seats in order to stop Mueller. Now, he said, if Attorney General Jeff Sessions won't unrecuse and Mueller won't clear the president, we're the only ones, which is really the danger. We have to keep all the seats. We have to keep the majority. Well, now wait a minute here. He says if Mueller doesn't clear the president. Well, okay, if Mueller doesn't clear the president, there's only one thing. It means that Donald Trump did something criminal, did something wrong. If Mueller won't clear Trump, it's because he's a criminal and he has been found in a criminal act. Now, Nunes says, though, no, I don't care if he does anything criminal. I don't care. I don't care. And look, I don't even know if that's the case. I don't know if Donald Trump did anything criminal, right? But he says, even if that's the case, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I'm going to defend Trump because we think, as Republicans, we are above the law. Donald Trump is above the law. We don't care about rule of law. Now, when are we protecting our guy? So, and look, here's the thing. If President Trump turns out to have been engaged in criminal activity, as I said before, even if it's taking campaign contributions from Russia in the form of Hillary Clinton, dirt on Hillary Clinton, or even something far more nefarious than that, why would Republicans defend him? Why do you have Nunes out there saying, no, we're going to put him above the law. We're going to protect him, and we need more seats to do that. Why would you do that? Okay, well, maybe it's party over country, right? There's always that, like, hey, I want my power. I want to stay in power. Or maybe it's the money. I mean, look what Trump has done, right? They've done tax cuts for the rich. They've done massive deregulation. They've done giveaways for corporations. Do you think that has something to do with it? No, maybe. Actually, Nunes said, quote, if we do not keep the majority, all of this goes away. What does he mean by all of this? Well, he means the tax cuts. He means the special breaks for corporations. He means all the goodies that he's given to the donors. If we lose the midterm, everything like that goes away. All the tax cuts, everything that we've given to you guys, the donors, is gone. Who cares if Mueller finds him guilty of criminal wrongdoing? All we care about is power, and we know all you care about is money. We want your money, and we get that by giving you tax breaks. You give us money in form of campaign contributions, we lower your taxes. You save millions. Millions. That's what this is about. It's about the money. Now, of course, Jack Langer, spokesman for Nunes, downplayed the comments. He said, it's unsurprising to see the left-wing media spin Chairman Nunes' routine observations as some nefarious plot, since these same media outlets spent the last year and a half touting non-existent Russia collusion conspiracy. Now, look, when you look at what the media has been doing, it does not help that you could do a supercut of Rachel Maddow saying Russia and have it go on for like an hour. Okay, look, they've kind of shot themselves in the foot. I think they focused way too much on the collusion narrative, mainly as a way to offset the Democrats losing in 2016. Us, collusion, Russia. No, you lost because you're terrible, and you lost to a clown. But anyway, look, it's not a conspiracy, however, when you do have the president and his son admit to saying, oh yeah, we're interested in that Trump Tower meeting where there were Russian operatives there that said, we have dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, Trump knew about that meeting. He admitted to knowing about that meeting. Donald Trump Jr. said, I love it. So yeah, I'm going to go get dirt on Hillary Clinton. We know that. We also know that right after Trump said in a speech, hey, if you find Hillary Clinton's missing emails, you know, go ahead and look for them, right? We know that right after that, Russian hackers did try to access the accounts of Hillary Clinton staffers. We know that happened, right? Could be coincidence, but possibly not. That's what they're actually looking into, right? We know that Roger Stone, by the way, might have known about the existence of the DNC emails being stolen prior to WikiLeaks releasing them. And not only that, right now, Roger Stone is being held in contempt of court because he refuses to go and answer questions for Robert Mueller. Now, look, here's the thing. I don't have an issue with WikiLeaks releasing those emails. They were acting as a journalistic organization, and I actually agree that it was a good thing that they were released because we found out about the level of corruption in the DNC and how they screwed over Bernie Sanders, right? But the idea that he did speak to Guccifer 2.0 about the release of those emails, which Guccifer was revealed to be a Russian agent, well, that's a bit troubling, and that's something that they should actually look into, right? So what we know is that this supposed witch hunt, with no collusion whatsoever, seems to be finding a lot of witches and seems to be finding some evidence of collusion. I'm just saying. Those are the facts, right? Now, Nunes, of course, and other Republicans that are still defending Donald Trump, look, they're doing this. They're defending him because of the donors. They do not care if this president has committed any crimes. And we don't know if he committed any crimes, but there's a possibility. They're saying through this that even if he does commit crimes, even if it's found that he had, we don't care. We're going to defend him. Look, you can't be a Republican and say you care for rule of law. I'm just saying, the Republican Party, or at least a lot of the politicians that are in it, they're morally bankrupt. Now, the thing is, they're gonna defend him. They're gonna be with Nunes. They're gonna, try to fight to keep Trump above the law. And look, we don't even know if Mueller's gonna come out with anything. But it seems like Nunes is preparing for it. He's like, no, we think that it's going to happen, so we're going to make sure we win the midterms to defend him anyway, to make sure that he doesn't get held accountable. That's crazy. They're putting party over country. They're putting tax cuts over justice. And they're doing so very brazenly. That's why they cannot be allowed to win the midterms. It's disgusting behavior, but again, it's everything that I expect from Devin Nunes. Okay. So let's go back to Michigan here. Now, Virginia Senate candidate Corey Stewart is a controversial figure. He said quite a few controversial things, and he already got himself back into hot water due to what was tweeted from his Twitter account about Michigan gubernatorial candidate Abdul El-Sayed. Now, earlier this week, he called El-Sayed a commie. Not only that, but an ISIS commie. He said, Michigan almost elected a far-left ISIS commie. This guy wants to abolish ICE and won 300,000 votes. Dangerous stuff. Don't let wimpy Tim Kaine bring this dangerous far-left communism to Virginia. Wait a minute. So this guy, he's running against Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine, by the way, is crushing him in the polls. Tim Kaine was Hillary Clinton's VP. He has the charisma of a piece of driftwood. And, of course, he is centrist center-right. Dangerous far-left communism. Really? That's one of the most nonsensical things I've ever seen. Tim Kaine is not even close to Abdul El-Sayed when it comes to policies. El-Sayed believes in Medicare for all. And he wrote up a detailed policy proposal to bring every Michigander health care, universal single-payer health care in Michigan, state-funded. That's not even close to what Tim Kaine was talking about. $15 minimum wage. Yes, abolishing ICE. Why? Why do we want to abolish ICE? It's because it's fucking redundant. ICE is basically acting as brown shirts. We already have border control. We have border patrol. Sorry. And so, I mean, seriously. I know they're framing this as like, no, open borders. Oh, I don't believe it. No, you know what? Actually, there are some progressives that are open borders. There's also some libertarians that are open borders. One that I know personally. But this whole argument is again bullshit lies. It's not based on reality. Now, in his tweet, Stewart quoted another tweet from a right-wing news site that says Michigan dodges a bullet as Sharia law compliant Democrat loses gubernatorial primary. Sharia compliant. Jeez. All right. Now, of course, that's good evidence of the smear campaign, right? That was launched from the right by or against al-Sayed, right? And so, I mean, here we go. Oh my God, scary Muslim Sharia law. Ignore the fact that he wanted to give you health care, boost your wages, and make college free. No. Muslim, ISIS, communism. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. That's all they got. Look, these Republicans, they only know how to operate on fear. They know they can't challenge these ideas because their ideas are actually terrible. What do they have? Tax cuts for the rich, deregulation. That is what they do whenever they get into power. Giveaways to the rich, right? More income inequality. More taking away from the things that you and your family need to survive. More removal of opportunity. That's what they have. That's what they have to offer. So they know that, and they go, well, how can we cover for that? I know. Fear, 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 fear. Be afraid. They jump to demonization and outright lies. Look, on the policy front, a recent Koch-backed poll found nearly 2/3 of the country support a $15 minimum wage and free college. Just over half of Americans say that government-run health insurance is the solution to the problem of incredibly high healthcare premiums. You know what is the #1 priority of American voters right now? The rising cost of health insurance. Now, Republicans, the members of the far right, they see this and are like, no, oh my God, Muslim, fear, ISIS, taxes, Venezuela, eating rats, Sharia law. And that's all they have. That's the Republican Party. Now, as I said before, Stewart, he's already been in trouble for saying terrible things. He's actually a neo-Confederate, right? He's like, yeah, I think the Confederacy should have won and broke away from America and did its own separate country where black people are basically property. Come on. Now he came up with this fantastic excuse to this. Watch or listen to this. One of my vendors put out a tweet last night that attempted to link a Michigan gubernatorial candidate to ISIS. Because he apparently received support from purported extremists. Where? What? Show me where he actually received support from purported extremists. You don't have any proof because it didn't actually happen. That's his apology. That's him saying, "Oh, sorry, my bad." I mean, it wasn't me. I mean, I didn't actually say that. No, it was one of my vendors. And it's kind of right because, he's reportedly, apparently received support from extremists. But I didn't say it. What a bullshit non-bology. Now, in a statement to the Hill, Stewart said, quote, "I don't believe in guilt by association." Again, reinforcing the idea that, oh, well, yeah, I mean, he's worked with extremists and gotten support from terrorists, right? No, he did not. But he said, quote, "I have been the target of very similar smears, and I don't believe in using such tactics against others." This is no apology. This is no apology at all. Not only that, but that supposed staffer, which I don't believe exists, but he's saying that, oh, yeah, that person, I'm not going to let him access my Twitter anymore. But other than that, go ahead. Yeah, you just can't access my Twitter because you're going to say accidentally things that I actually believe in. Look, here's why there's a non-apology, right? Look, message received, right? His base sees that, and they're going to cheer. Why? It's because he hates who they hate. Muslims. Now, the only backlash he's gotten from this was from Muslim groups. Now, and Democrats, of course. In fact, here you have Gretchen Whitmer. Now, Gretchen Whitmer won the primary. She's now the candidate for governor of Michigan. And she tweeted out, quote, I'm proud to have shared the stage with Abdul El-Sayed in one of the most diverse Democratic primaries in Michigan history. This language is hateful and divisive, and Corey Stewart from VA does not belong anywhere near the U.S. Senate. So that's good. That's classy. Here you have Whitmer, standing up for her former opponent. Well, that's wonderful to see. I guess that's unity, right? Now, El-Sayed probably had the best response to this. He simply tweeted, shawarma trucks on every corner and Medicare for all. I love that. Now, look, these Republican politicians, let's be honest, their power is actually fairly limited. And I know it doesn't seem like that because they win in these places. But when you think about it, they really only appeal to a small slice of very hateful people. Those people are very, very highly motivated to go out and vote. Whereas you have the majority of the American public that are working 2 to 3 jobs to survive, or are so turned off by the politics of the day, by the infighting, by the bullshit, by the corruption and the money. They think, what's the point? That's why people like that win, right? And so the people that are very highly motivated, they tune in and they hear this dog whistling, right? And so the only thing that we can do to fight against that is the vote. If we actually all got out there and exercised our power to vote, then people like Stewart would never win. People like Stewart couldn't win dog catcher. So, look, we have more power than we think. It's just we need to use it. Okay. One more here. Let's go to hypocrisy. So yesterday, Melania Trump's parents have officially became American citizens. Now, they have been green card holders for years. And I think that normally something like this should be celebrated. Hey, look, more American citizens. People that immigrated here to have a better shot, a better chance in their lives and to do something better. Wonderful. However, we're not able to do that in this case, mostly because of the president's stance on immigration. He is actually decidedly anti-immigrant, so there appears to be a case of hypocrisy here. Now, her parents, Melania's parents, Victor and Amalija Kanavas, who are from Slovenia, have been living in the United States for years as legal residents. So as I said before, they had green cards, they got their visa, they stayed over here, they worked and all that stuff. Now, again, I have no issue with that. I actually agree with immigration. I think chain immigration is great. I think people should be able to come over here and become citizens. But there's somebody out there who does not believe that. That would be President Trump. Now, a source with direct knowledge of Melania Trump's parents and their immigration status told CNN that Melania Trump sponsored their parents for green cards, a status that allowed them to live and work in the U.S. indefinitely and paved the way for citizenship. Now, do you know what we call that? We call that chain migration. Now, how does the president, how does Trump feel about chain migration?
We have to end chain migration. We have to end chain migration.
Oops. Right. not a fan of chain migration. In fact, Trump and his congressional allies have fought to vastly limit legal migration and have been trying to get rid of chain migration. In fact, what they want to do is they want to limit sponsorship to spouses and minor children, including dropping the threshold for minor children from 28 to 18. So if Trump had his way, Melania's parents would not be allowed to become citizens in the country. Chain migration. Oh, you're going to have your grandparents, you're going to have your uncles, you're going to have your parents and your brothers and sisters coming in. We can't have that. We have to end chain migration. It is estimated by experts that if you do that, you could cut overall immigration to the United States by 40 to 50%. That's huge. But that's kind of their point. Earlier this week, it was reported that the White House was planning to release a plan to stop people from becoming citizens if they had ever used a government service. Now, that includes the ACA getting, a health insurance subsidy, or even the earned income tax credit. But again, these are legal citizens that come over, they pay taxes, they work, they follow the law. That's everything the Republicans claim that people should do if they want to become a citizen. And here's the Trump administration saying, just kidding. We said that we would like people to come over and work and pay taxes and do all this stuff. Not if you're brown. Don't care. They are anti-immigration. That's what we kept trying to tell you over and over again. And there are people like that. No, don't believe it. They're not anti-immigrant. They're just anti-illegal immigration. We just want you to come in the legal way, the normal way, the fair way. Don't cut in line. They don't believe in that at all. No, they're anti-immigration unless, of course, it's their in-laws. Unless, of course, it's wealthy people. Look, we know the reason they crack down on people that use the ACA or the Earned Income Tax Credit. That's people who work. These are working class people, right? So, look, the majority of people that are coming over right now are actually brown and black. They don't want those people coming in. In fact, here's Laura Ingraham basically saying how much they don't like immigrants.
Because in some parts of the country, it does seem like the America that we know and love doesn't exist anymore. Massive demographic changes have been foisted upon the American people. And they're changes that none of us ever voted for and most of us don't like. From Virginia to California, we see stark examples of how radically, in some ways, the country has changed. Now, much of this is related to both illegal and, in some cases, legal immigration that, of course, progressives love.
Legal immigration? Yeah, we love legal immigration. In fact, we want to fix the immigration system to help out with that. Look, here's the thing, right? You may be wondering who the us she's referring to. We didn't vote for it, and we don't like it. No, there's people like Ingraham that don't like it. Wealthy white conservatives. They don't want all these brown people here. Because, look, I think the main reason is because they might vote for Democrats. Why? I don't want to make them citizens, because then we're going to lose our power. Demographic change, look, this is something they've known for a very long time. That the demographics are going to change, and that they only appeal to white racist people. That's the problem here. I mean, look, that's why they have nothing to sell but fear of the other. But in reality, they're losing their power, right? And look, what they're doing is they're shutting out everybody who isn't wealthy, who isn't white, who isn't going to continue to protect their power. That's why you have this hypocrisy. And unfortunately, that's why you have this reality where now you have people, conservatives, who are out in the open with it and saying, yes, we don't want legal immigration anymore. So, but anyway, that's it. All right, guys. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Also, I did mention earlier Roger Stone being put in contempt of court. That's awesome. Jason Kessler spouting racist things on NPR. What the fuck is happening with NPR? All that stuff. So we'll come back with the normal show on Monday. So I want to thank you guys. If you haven't already, please give us a like. Also consider, supporting us with Super Chat. Had a rough month so far. So if you could help out in that way, I'd appreciate it. All right, guys. Thanks. Love you guys, and we'll see you on Monday. Oh, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, TYT Nation. See you on Monday.